Hello, my name is Frank Johnson, and I'm the race director for the Wild Driftless Adventure Race, and this is your pre-race briefing. Firstly, I want to say a word of thanks to all the people who are behind this race. I've said it a few times now. We haven't proven that we can do this yet, so the fact that so many folks would be supportive of what we're trying to accomplish here is awesome. I want to say a special thanks to Crawdaddy Outdoors, to Ewalu Bible Camp, USARA, Wisconsin Adventure Racing Series, the Dark Zone, an adventure racing podcast, Clayton County Conservation, Delaware County Conservation, Zanfell, Backbone State Park and Backbone Lake Friends, Maquoketa River Watershed Authority, Rivals Inc., Gear Junkie, Monticello River Rentals, First Basis Consulting. Whether they're sponsors of our race or sponsors of the Wisconsin Series, we are so appreciative of all of you. We're also very thankful to a whole host of individuals. You're going to see 40 volunteers out there on Saturday, which is an enormous amount of volunteers for a new race. So thank you so much to all of you who have been part of this. A few special thanks. Jamie and Renee Borglum. Renee is going to be our volunteer coordinator on the day. Jamie is the owner of Crawdaddy Outdoors and was the person really to push me over the edge to do this race. So thank you to them, and they'll both be out there on Saturday. Steph Bating, who has been really fantastic in a busy time of year for her here at Ewalu, has really taken this on as another project, and I'm very thankful for all the work she's put in on it. And also Emily Tull, Emily Dreesen Tull, excuse me, who's program director at Ewalu, who is helping me set the course this week, which is awesome and very helpful, as many of you who've done this kind of thing know, to have someone else to help with setting. It's excellent. So, and many other people. So thank you to all of you who support this race. But now let's get into it. And we're going to start with the bike drop, which you just learned about in your race update. The bike drop is going to be located at what's called the Pack and Paddle Trailhead on the south end of Camp Ewalu. So on this map that you have here, this star to the north there is race headquarters, and that is at Ewalu. I want you to note that this road through the middle of Ewalu does not go through, so you're not going to be able to go through to drop off your bikes that way. You need to take your bikes up Alpha Avenue and then over to the east on Highway 3, down Acorn Street, and then following this winding road that becomes April Avenue before turning west on 390th Street. So we want you going west on 390th Street. So if you're coming from Strawberry Point direction, that's perfect. If you're coming from the south, that's fine too. But we do not want you driving east on 390th Street. It is a gravel road, and you are not going to be able to park in both directions. So we're having you drop bikes off here. There's a parking area. We would like you to park along the north side of the road between 390th Street and back here at the Maquoketa River crossing to help us with congestion. You can alternatively, you can park along April Avenue. We just ask that you continue in the direction that you came from. So following this map is the easiest way to do this in order to safely drop off your bikes. There'll be someone there for you to drop those bikes off for the 9-hour course. That'll be at 5:30 in the morning. For the light course, it will be at 9:30 in the morning. We do encourage you to get there right around then and give yourself the most time to do this and to get back and to have the most time with your maps. But also do not drop off your bikes before that time. The volunteer will be out there by around 5:30. Make sure that you drop off your bikes, check in with that volunteer, and then you can be on your way. Also make sure that you mark your bikes with duct tape on the top tube is perfect. With your team's bib number, check the race roster for that. Once you've done the bike drop, you can return to main site, which I will now pull up here. So at main site, you're going to be coming in Alpha Avenue. This is the Ewalu main site. The address here is 3776 Alpha Avenue, Strawberry Point, Iowa 52076. If you put it in your GPS, it should get you there, but it might sometimes get you a little close, and then you have to kind of continue on. When you enter Ewalu, there'll be Joy Springs County Park on your right on the west side of the road, and then you continue into the property and up the hill. There is overflow parking that will be marked here. This is just a field. It's a kind of grassy field near a basketball court right here across from the pool. That's a great place to park if we run out of space up here. There's a good amount of parking space up in front of the race HQ, but for the light teams in particular, you might find that it starts to get kind of we might start to run out of space. And we ask that you can park along the road going in and out, but please don't like park too far out in the road. We want to make sure that people can get by comfortably. There are going to be a lot of race volunteers and whatnot driving back and forth throughout the day. Parking. So again, parking over here, Race HQ. Here is the Creation Center. It is kind of right at the end of the road before this becomes a service road down here. So that's where we'll be. And race check-in starts at 6 a.m. for the 9-hour course, or 10 a.m. for the light course. All right, check-in logistics. When you get to race registration check-in, you're going to need to sign that climbing waiver. There's a reason we didn't put it out ahead of time, and I'm sorry I can't tell you the reason why at this point, but you're going to have the opportunity to sign it then. One person per team is going to be doing that rappel, and you need to have that waiver signed. And again, as it mentioned in our second race update, if you are a minor, or you have somebody who's under 18 who wants to do that rappel, it's okay to have them do it on day of, as long as they have a parent guardian with them to sign it. If that's not the case, then let me know now. So frank@ewaldu.org, and we can figure that one out. So once you've got that climbing waiver, you'll then get your race instructions, your clue sheet, and your maps. The race instructions will include things like the rules, details about how many points are available, allowed, disallowed routes, safety considerations, penalties, emergency contact info. Some of that information is available to you right now if you go to the website and read through rules and regulations. So that's a great way to prepare yourself, so you don't need to sort through all that on race morning. Some of that information is new and specific to the course. But a lot of that is just kind of your basic information that you're going to need to know, and rules and regulations, that kind of stuff. That will not be printed on waterproof, water-resistant paper, just because if you were to lose that, you can still complete the race course. So just FYI. The clue sheet, however, you do need to complete the course, and so you will be that will be printed on water-resistant paper. It's a front page for the light course. It's a front and back page for the 9-hour course. And if you want an example of a clue sheet, that was included in Race Update 1. It's available in the public folder that for the race on the Google Drive. And so you can go back and take a look at that if you need to know kind of what a clue sheet might look like. Maps are going to be printed on 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17 paper, except the 11 by 17 is actually 12 by 18. Just a quirk of a printer and whatnot, but it has a wide border. So if your map case is for 11 by 17 and it's kind of not quite fitting, I encourage you to bring a scissors and just cut that border off down the edge. Otherwise, for some of you, it really doesn't matter, and you can do what you want with it. Maps and clue sheets, like I said, are all printed on water-resistant paper. It's still going to want to bring a map case. It just so happened that Emily and I, when we were out paddling, had one of those maps submerged in the bottom of our canoe. And I mean submerged because there was water in the bottom of the canoe. And it was underwater for a good 45 minutes and came out with not a tiniest bit of bleed on it. So it's good, really good, high-quality water-resistant paper. But still, map case is a good idea. Plus, it keeps everything in one place. If you don't want to invest, or a little late now to invest in a map case, Ziploc bags are perfectly fine. And if you put a Ziploc bag and put a little punch in the corners, you can even make a little something to put around your neck if you want to. Yep, and then also at race check-in you'll get your swag, which in this case will be a buff, and that will be and then also some goodies and some other things that you'll get for the day. If you are a 9-hour team and you want to bring your own paddle gear, that is perfectly fine. It just needs to fit into a bag, box, tote. Nothing too excessive, please. We are going to have to transport that stuff, and this will be dropped off at alongside race check-in at Race HQ. It needs to be dropped off by 7:30 in the morning. We'll be moving it then, so make sure that it is there It is labeled. It is where it's supposed to be by 7:30 in the morning. There will be a required racer meeting at 7:30 that will be outside of Race HQ. There may not be a time for bathroom breaks between that race check-in racer meeting and the start of the race. So come to that meeting race ready. Have everything you need in order to get going and to start racing. And everything I'm saying for the 9-hour race applies to the light course 4 hours later. So at 11:30, you need to be there and you need to be ready to go, ready to check in. At 7:50, we're going to do an all call for teams, and this is going to take the form of us calling out your team's bib number and then you replying. And it can be, if you want to be, you can be boring and you can say here or whatever, yep, whatever, or you can actually do something creative, which is totally fine. There is a Team Spirit Award. This is a great opportunity to show that you have some team spirit and you're a potential winner of that award. Just saying. The Wild Driftless Light Course, as you've seen in Race Update 2, the Light Course is no longer a 4-hour race. It's actually a 5-hour race. You have 5 hours from the time the race starts at noon to complete it by 5 o'clock, which means you'll have the same deadline, the same cutoff time as the Wild Driftless course. So everybody goes till 5 p.m. We did this in part because we wanted to give people the opportunity to experience opportunity to clear the course for some of the top teams, but also for some of the novice teams, we felt it's really important to give you the opportunity to see more of the course. And it's a decently sized course on the light course. It's definitely clearable. Some teams could definitely get all the checkpoints, but not everybody, and that's totally fine. You're gonna have to make some decisions there. The course highlights for the light course are going to be marked in your race instructions. So there'll be some examples of like, hey, these are some of the best places you might want to see if you're just out to get just the highlights of the course. If you're there to clear the course, then it's all there for you too. There'll be an e-punch system that we use to collect checkpoints. When you get to a checkpoint, you're going to have this fancy little finger stick. Thank you, 180 Adventures, for providing those for us. And you're going to take that finger stick and you're going to have a control punch that looks something like this. You're going to stick that punch into this control, and there'll be a beep, and that'll tell you that it's been registered, and then you go on your way. Those e-punches are fantastic. At the finish line, you're going to punch the finish punch, and then you're going to be directed to bring your you're probably going to hand your punch immediately to a volunteer or be directed to a results table to make sure that those get taken in right away. The race course, a few course updates. Actually, let's start with weather updates. The big news on weather is it's going to be hot. Like for October, this is unseasonably warm. It looks like mid 80s on race day. And so be prepared. I mean, this is actually, it's probably the most dangerous thing about this right now is that it's going to be mid 80s. I mean, that's something that will really sneak up on you in October. So hydration is huge. Electrolytes, if you have electrolyte tablets or something you can put in, make sure you have those things because I just foresee this being a sneaky issue. There's going to be several places on course where you can fill up with water, and including 2 transition areas on the 9-hour course that you're going to come to 2 times each. So technically 4 times you can fill up with water. Make sure you're doing that because it's going to be one of those days, I think. And dressing appropriately for heat, making sure that you're ready to go. Sunscreen, yeah, it helps. So definitely be aware of that. Also bugs. I mean, we never really deal with bugs in October. The mosquitoes are gone. You don't have to worry about that, thankfully. Ticks are still a thing, and they are kind of regardless. Definitely check yourself after the race. There could be some ticks. There's not a huge number of ticks, but the percentage of deer ticks here is actually pretty high. So be wary of that and be checking yourself after the race. And then also right now, wasps are really everywhere. It's like we had no bee problem all summer, and now suddenly they're kind of all over the place. So especially if you're allergic, be very aware. I mean, EpiPen, all that kind of stuff. But even if you're not, like there's definitely bees on the course, and we haven't had major issues with it, but like just be aware that is a thing. Emergency plans. Make sure you're carrying a cell phone. Needs to be turned off and stored. and it's for emergencies only, but make sure you have it. You'll get phone numbers for myself. You'll get a phone number for Kimberly Mueller, who is our volunteer medical coordinator. Will be available in case of emergency. The best areas for cell coverage are on high ground. So giving yourself the opportunity to call out or to text out is definitely best on higher ground. Valleys might be kind of hard. Um, Also, we have an emergency messaging service through Alert Iowa. Thank you to Delaware County Emergency Management for that. To sign up for that, we encourage you to text Wild Driftless to 67283, and that will sign you up for those emergency alerts. It doesn't look like we're going to have to deal with weather alerts, but in case something happens, it will allow us to text everyone. Your phone will be off unless we tell you otherwise, but still, it's a good idea to have it. Also, your whistle is essential mandatory gear. I'm going to say that whistle is an easy item to forget, but especially for soloists, that is your best way to find help if you were to get hurt. So that's a little hint. Your whistle is very important. All right. I'm going to talk about the course in general terms. Of course, you're not going to know exactly. We're not going to tell you what's going to be on the course exactly until you arrive on Saturday morning. But here are some updates and some things from the course. Only the transition areas are going to be required on this course. For the 9-hour course, there will be a prologue that's also required, but otherwise only just the transition areas. Everything else is optional. That includes the rappel. It includes all checkpoints. You do not need to get a CP in each discipline. CP is a checkpoint. You do not need to do that. It's totally up to you if you completely skip the paddle or all the bike points or whatever. The 9-hour course is set to be challenging. I might even call it very challenging. If you're new to adventure racing or a mid-pack team, this course could be great for you, or it could be very frustrating, depending on the mindset that you bring to it. You will likely need to make tough calls to cut points. On the other hand, this is going to be a course that will reward smart teams who have a good sense of their abilities. I really feel that. You are responsible for managing your time, and if you manage it well, you could really take advantage of the way that this course is set up. The 9-hour course in particular is very back heavy with checkpoints. I suspect we'll see faster teams who end up lower than slower teams on the rankings simply because of trying to bite off more than they can chew early in the race. For both courses, I'll say that the final transition area is some distance from the finish. It's not right next door. So you are going to need to budget your time to get back. That 5-hour cutoff is a hard cutoff, and it's 1 point that you will lose every minute. Well, you lose 1 point for being over 5 hours, and then every minute after that, you add an additional point to lose. So really, it's not worth being over. I've recently timed out on a race. It's not a lot of fun either. So try to be back by 5 o'clock, please. I strongly suggest you reverse engineer your day and think about how fast you can go on tired legs on that last leg to know how much time you need to get back. Yeah, and the light race was expanded to 5 hours, and it should be clearable by some teams. And for others, I think that's it's just going to be a great opportunity for you to see more of the course. So that's the rationale there. All right, so I'm going to give updates now on specific disciplines and some things. So the bike update, this applies to 9-hour only. There will be a couple of places on the course where you have to leave your bikes on public property to trek in for a checkpoint. We expect to have a volunteer monitoring the area, but we also would suggest that you consider bringing a bike lock, especially if you're nervous, or especially if you have a bike that's like, this bike's more expensive than my car. Might be a good idea to bring a bike lock in those situations. There's a segment of trail on the 9-hour course that will be marked with caution signs on your maps. It's on every map that will include that section. This is a descent that has some pretty significant erosion. Be cautious when you reach this point. Take those caution signs seriously, especially because the hill starts really fast and really fun and looks like it's going to be a place where you can open it up. And then the erosion sort of appears out of nowhere. And then suddenly it'd be real easy to just put an entire wheel into nothing, and pretty soon you're not going to have a wheel or your collarbone, and we don't want that. So we appreciate you guys playing it safe on those areas. Also on the 9-hour, be mentally prepared for some hike-a-bike. If anybody manages to bike the whole trail section, you are a much better cyclist than me. I'll tell you that much. You will be rewarded with this. It's not the most technical mountain biking, but it is definitely like a skill heavy course, if that makes sense. Like if you can maintain speed, you're gonna be in good shape on this course. And for others, just be mentally prepared. You're gonna have to come off the bike at times. And also, even though this is Iowa, this is the driftless area of Iowa, there are some hills. There is roughly 3,200 feet of climbing on the 9 hour course, and about half that much, about 1,600 feet of climbing on the light course. And that's not like a ton of hills, but like it's enough. It will zap you over the course of the day, especially if you're not used to it. Like I think it's gonna even feel a little hillier than that. So be ready for that. On the paddle, which obviously applies only to the 9 hour course, be sure to follow instructions at the paddle transition area. You will need to return boats and paddle gear to the location where you pick them up when you arrive. You can't just leave your canoes down at the launch. You're going to have to bring them back to where you get them from. Three-person teams must use a single canoe and no sitting on those thwarts. Those things are not good. They will break and you will also tip over and nobody will have fun. So don't do that. Canoes are all very similar aluminum boats. They might be subtle differences between them, but they're pretty much all the same. So first come, first serve. You can pick out your boat if you want to when you get there. Soloists, you'll have to use kayaks. And then a portion of the paddle route will require some portaging and pulling canoes in very shallow water. Now, this is a portion that is optional. But for those who choose to do it, this area is very sandy, so you should be okay to pull boats. You don't necessarily need to lift them out of the water. I know aluminum canoes, portaging is not fun. But please do not scrape boats on rocks, logs, or anything else. So if you come across those things, you need to lift them up and portage in those cases. Yeah, moving on to the stuff on foot, to trek update. The big obstacles you're going to come are some steep slopes and some loose rocks, just footing and that kind of stuff. And right now there are a lot of leaves down on the course, so it's just a lot harder to see. So a lot of the deadfall that is there in these forest sections is a lot harder to make out. So just be careful where you're putting your feet. Don't assume you can run just because you see sort of open forest. There might be some stuff that's going to jump up and grab you. And then also there's areas that are adjacent to private property, and a lot of those areas have barbed wire fencing. And sometimes the barbed wire fencing falls down, and it's actually quite hard to find it. So just be very careful where you're stepping, that you're not like landing on barbed wire. And there's actually some areas on the course even that have fencing that's old fencing that's actually on the course. So like it's not even, you can traverse over it perfectly fine. You're not going onto private property, but you might run into some barbed wire fencing that's in unexpected places. So just be aware of where you're stepping when you're out there, is the moral of the story. Quick word on the rappel, which is for both courses. No special skills are necessary. It's very straightforward, although if you're afraid of heights, it will be nerve-wracking. You will be belayed down. You are not going to have to self-belay. I know we had some questions about gloves and that kind of thing. I don't think you need gloves. If you have bike gloves and you want to wear them, perfectly fine. If you're the kind of person who grabbed the rope out of, fear or whatever, or just like, that's a natural thing to do. Then maybe some bike gloves or something would be totally fine. But I don't think you need them. It's gravity. You're sitting back. It should be fun. It's going to give you a nice view. If you have no experience whatsoever with climbing, rappelling, it's probably sufficient. Go maybe look up some videos on YouTube of like rappelling technique, and basically like you're trying to sit back and push off from the wall and keep your feet in front of you, and it'll be fun. Fun for most. All right, transition areas. There will be 2 transition areas on the 9-hour course that have snacks and food and restrooms and all the services and water. And you're going to come through those twice. Thank you to Maquoketa River Watershed Management Authority and Backbone Lake Friends Group for sponsoring those transition areas and providing food. So thank them when you see them. And there's going to be a bunch of them, a bunch of people out there to say thank you to. So we appreciate them. On the 4 hour course, or not the 4 hour course, the light course now, you will become there will be one transition area with snacks and water and restrooms and all of that, and you will also be coming through that twice. So you'll have plenty of opportunity to fill up with water. Just a few announcements left. A couple things left to say. Mandatory gear. Make sure you have all the mandatory gear. We might well be doing gear checks out there. If you're missing a mandatory gear item, that's -1 point. If it's an individual item and you have 4 people on your team and you're all missing it, that's -4 points. You do not want to do that. Make sure you have every item on that list. I'm going to say a few items that would be easy to overlook. One is that you need a headlamp for the bike drop off and check in for the 9 hour because it's going to be pitch dark when you're dropping the bikes off. But you also need that headlamp for the course. So that headlamp needs to come with you all day, and that includes both the light and the long course. You need a good pen, especially 9 hours. I strongly recommend a fine tip Sharpie or a good Sharpie. There's a reason we put this on the mandatory gear list. And then also, there was an addition of bright clothing to the gear list. This is one that we're going to be pretty lenient on. If you think it's bright, if it's clothing, we're going to count it. This is an addition from insurance with hunting possibility. We don't think there's a lot of risk of hunting anywhere on this course, really. But, it's better to be safe than sorry. If that's something that makes you nervous, by all means, wear blaze orange, something too. It's doesn't hurt. And then mandatory gear, phones off, stored, watches stored. You can have your watch on for Strava upload if you want to, but it needs to be stored and out of view in your pack. Or if you have a watch with Garmin's AR mode enabled, that is perfectly fine too. We can work with that. Just show us on get it started on race morning. And if you're not sure what that is, go look it up. It's kind of a cool feature on some Garmin watches. Finally, the finish line. So 5 p.m. is a hard cutoff, and as I mentioned previously, it's -1 point, -1 additional point for every minute over at that time. There will be some showers available at the pool house. These are individual stalled showers. We're not completely rustic camp out here, but it's sort of limited. I think we only have a couple of stalls, male and female side out there. So, but it is an option if you want to shower off quick. There's post-race supper is from TNT Barbecue. Thyron Matthews is fantastic, and he won Netflix's barbecue showdown or whatever it was called and so he's pretty good at this. So we're excited about that. Awards for both races. We're planning on 5:45. We're going to do them all back to back with a special announcement of the race location for 2026 in the middle. It's no secret that we think we have one good 9-hour course out of Iwalu, and we're excited to be moving it around the Driftless region here in the future. So that announcement will be part of the awards. So hang around for that. First and second place awards in each category, plus Team Spirit. We'll also be acknowledging first and second overall. That will be part of those places as well. Yeah, and then beyond that, if you're wanting your questions answered, I'm certainly available via email or whatever, frank@iwalu.org. But if you want like an opportunity to ask questions, we're going to be having a Zoom tomorrow night, Thursday night at 7 p.m. That Zoom link is in your race updates. It's been in the last couple race updates. So join us. Just bring your questions to the chat or ask them out loud. Either way, we'll be happy to answer them. We'll stay on for a bit and chat about whatever you think you need to know in order to do this. We love that so many of you are new to this sport and want to learn more. I mean, that's where it all started, and that was me a decade ago. So I'm very, very receptive to that kind of thing. So we're excited about that. And otherwise, we're just so excited to have you out on Saturday. We're looking forward to it so much, and we're eager to give you a great day. And afterwards, we want to hear about what we did right, what we did wrong, what we could do better. Because I think we've got a great start on this thing, but it's still year one, and so we recognize that there's probably some bumps and some things that will happen. So thank you for your patience in figuring that out. But on the other hand, we're looking to put on a high class professional race on Saturday, and hope that you just have a fantastic time and that you feel at home in the Iowa Driftless, because this place is awesome, and we think you will find it that way too. So without anything else to say, I think we'll see you Saturday, and I look forward to having you out.